and then it just about 4 years ago, I don't know what triggered it, but it went really, really bad. So
Okay.
it was just not able to sleep. I was sleeping 3 hours a night, and
Wow.
the less you sleep, the worse the restless legs get. So it's almost
Mhm.
a vicious cycle that you can't
Right.
break. And I was desperate for a solution because I thought I can't live like this. I had to retire early. I couldn't work. And
So I want to introduce Irene, and this is Dr. Anderson, and we're talking to her. She's up in Canada, and she came here quite some time ago. And this is something new we're doing because we have so many people we interview immediately after surgery, and we did that with her. And this was back in June of 2022, I believe, wasn't it? That we did this. 2023, I mean, yes, 2023, and now it's in January of 2024, and so we're talking about Restless Legs, as you may know, but she came down here from Canada, and I'll let her tell her story. I really appreciated her because she's very professional. She's in healthcare, and I think she really did a good job of kind of screening me, of just truly evaluating this to see if it had merit for her. And she's done very well, and she'll tell you a little bit about her journey and her story. So, and she was awesome to work with. She's a very gracious lady, and really enjoyed working with her. So, if you can take over from there, I mean, just explain, where you're from in Canada, how you found out about us, and your story.
all right. Well, thank you, Dr. Anderson. So I'm from a really small town near Ottawa in Ontario, Canada, and it's called Dunrobin. I live in the country, but I had been suffering from restless legs for most of my life. Probably started in my early 20s. I remember because I tried to learn to meditate, and it was just impossible for me, especially in the evenings, to sit still. But it was
Right.
manageable. I didn't really know what it was. I didn't have a diagnosis at that time, but it would come and go. And then when I had my children, I had it quite badly during the last trimester of pregnancy. Um, and then it just about 4 years ago, I don't know what triggered it, but it went really, really bad. So
Okay.
it was just not able to sleep. I was sleeping 3 hours a night, and
Wow.
the less you sleep, the worse the restless legs get. So it's almost a vicious cycle that you can't
Right.
break. And I was desperate for a solution because I thought I can't live like this. I had to retire early. I couldn't work. And so I saw a neurologist. I saw a sleep specialist. I was seeing my family doctor. And I was being given a lot of very heavy medications, sleeping pills, dopamine agonists, opioids. And they really didn't help that much.
Mm.
And I was very concerned about getting. There's a term for it when you start to take some of the dopamine agonists, you can get augmentation.
Augmentation. Right. Right.
Get the restless legs, not in the legs, but in other limbs in your shoulder.
Exactly.
So I was very worried about that, and I started to do my own research on the internet. Late at night, I found Dr. James Anderson, and I listened to many testimonies, and I listened to you speak about it, the success rate you've had with restless legs, and then I read your book, Perfect Night's Rest, I believe it's called. I have it here on the shelf.
Yeah. Perfect night's sleep. Yep. Yep.
And it really made a lot of sense to me that there could be something more going on than just neurological, that
Right.
it could be peripherally as well, tight nerve tunnels, something to do with the nerves. Um, and there was I read some research about that, because they really didn't, they have lots of theories about restless legs, but they don't have any real answers.
Exactly.
And the treatment is medication, which is really difficult to live on 600 milligrams of gabapentin every evening, and then you feel
Right.
in the day, and the dopamine agonists have lots of side effects, headaches, as well as some pretty bad ones. So yes, we had a chat. I think I started with emailing you, Dr. Anderson, and then we
Right.
telephone conversation.
Mhm.
And then I wanted to speak to you again after that first conversation.
Right.
And then
I can't remember that.
yeah, felt very reassured that you knew what you were doing. You've been doing it for years, and you've had a lot of success. And I guess what sold me is that I asked you, well, how many people that you actually do the surgery on don't have a good result? And you did tell me there was not many. And I said, well, why? And you said, well, I really don't know why. But, well, so I appreciated the honesty that there wasn't many, but for those
Right.
that didn't work, we're not quite sure why.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
It
then I,
tends to be pretty neutral if it doesn't work. But yeah, so I'll let you go on. That's
okay,
so
so
then
then,
you came, and then what was that like when you came?
yeah, well, it was tough because I came and
Oh, I remember that.
I
Yeah.
wasn't sure because I had my pre-op appointment on a Monday, and I didn't feel great, but I wasn't too bad. And then that night I got fevers and chills and a sore throat, and I called the next morning. I said, I might have COVID. I have to
Right.
get, but it wasn't easy to find a testing site at this in Fort Collins at that time. All of them were drive through, and of course I didn't have a car. I had flown in.
Right.
So I came to your clinic, and the nurse tested me, and it was positive.
We had to postpone your surgery, right, for another week.
Yes.
So
yes.
you ended up. I mean, most people come here; they're here for a couple of weeks, but this was like a 3-week stint.
Really,
That you came down here. So
yes,
hopefully it was worth it, right?
it was worth it. I mean, I was determined. So I had
Right.
one done a week later. I was
Right.
puffing a bit, but I was much better. And then the second leg I was supposed to have done on the Wednesday. I was flying out Friday,
Mhm.
but it was postponed, and I had to have it on Thursday. So
Mhm.
flew out the Friday anyway, because I needed to get home.
And did you respond pretty quick?
Yeah, I mean, right. I wasn't sure because I was using some of the opioids for pain management that you
Right.
give. So I wasn't sure if that was why there was no restless legs.
Right.
Because when I had the first leg done, there was no restless legs in the first leg, but the one that wasn't done, I had the same symptoms. And then it did, after the second leg was operated on. It went away. It was very minor. And then it was amazing. When I got home, I was sleeping much better.
Right.
Was recovering really well. I
Did
guess.
it take you a while to kind of believe this was the real thing and it was helping you?
Well, I was just so paranoid that it
Right.
was
So
back.
back. Yep.
So sometimes there was a little bit of sensation. I was just so worried it would come back.
Right.
But then I had appointments with you regularly, and you reassured me that it might come back a little bit, but the hope is it's not going to be at the same high level.
Right.
And so I relaxed a little bit, and it has come back, but not to the same extent. I have to
Right.
say
I want you to talk about that a little bit, because
Mhm.
I have people that they'll tell me they're 95, 100% better,
Yeah.
and they have no medication at all. And you're not that person. You're
I-
close to that person, but
yeah.
I want people to really know the reality of this, because most people do get better, and it can vary, but it's rare that it just helps people like 20%. It's more commonly going to help them pretty significantly. So you can maybe just kind of maybe end this by just, where are you right now, to be really honest about where you're at. What is it? Almost, I guess, 9 months out from surgery.
Okay, it's 7 months out from surgery.
7 months, okay.
I'm 75% better.
75, okay,
That's huge. So now, usually the restless legs start around 9 p.m., but it's minor, and I have special exercises and stretches I do.
Right. So you're doing some things.
Yeah, okay. And then it goes away, enough that I can sleep. I do take gabapentin occasionally, but like 100 milligrams. Right. That's it. That's really a...
Right. And I try to tell people that sometimes it's like, well, if you don't get off the medication, at least you don't take as much, and you're not looking at a life of having to take more. And that sounds like you.
Yeah, it's changed my life, I have to say, because I'm working part-time again.
And you couldn't have done this before.
No, I couldn't.
Is that right?
I could barely get through the day.
Wow.
Every day was such a struggle.
So your life is more fulfilling because you're able to work. You want to work, right?
I'm able to work. I'm able to enjoy things. I have hope.
Right.
Able to handle, life's ups and downs, where before it was, because I was so sleep deprived.
Right.
I couldn't handle anything. My husband, he said he didn't realize how much it affected him, my rest. And now he's so much happier, because he just got used to it, that I was just, I wouldn't be able to accompany him on things during the day. I'd never go out in the evening. I was just...
Wow. Probably could go out and socialize, or go to dinner, go to movies, things like that, maybe?
Yes. So life is real.
You're back to your Irene yourself.
I would say so, for sure. And this is like it's really minor what I have to deal with now. It's super manageable.
Right.
It's just a bit of stretching. I have some exercises. I do some, stretching of the hands.
And you're able to do tennis again.
Yes, tennis and
tennis.
spinning classes. It's
great.
So I'm trying to...
Like, normally you couldn't have done that because you're exhausted, or...
I couldn't do it.
Just
exhausted. I did a bit of stretching before at home, but I wasn't going to the gym. You just can't. You can't even drive half the time when you're...
Well, that's really a good story. Really appreciate it. No, you've been a very thoughtful, kind person.
Oh, thank you.
You're very thoughtful, and just how you approached coming down here. Really appreciate it. And yes, you did ask a lot of questions, but I was ready for the challenge because you asked some really good questions. And before you even came down, I really appreciate it, because I know it's a big sacrifice to come from Canada all the way down here. And
there's no guarantees,
Exactly. And
I felt in good hands, and your team, the Anderson podiatry team, is wonderful. The nurses,
right?
Everyone
mentioned that everybody you were really impressed with our team here, and I like to think they share my passion for this, because we really are able to help people, and it's very meaningful if you can help people sleep more, just help mentally, spiritually, physically, all the things that can happen if you get a better night's sleep. So, and you really are an excellent example of what it can do. Just sharing your story today is really excellent. So,
well, thank you, and I thank you bottom of my heart, because it changed my life. I'm 61.
What's that?
I'm 61 years old, and I feel like I have some good years ahead.
Got a lot of life left in you, don't you, Irene? Okay. Any last thoughts that you might want to share before we sign off?
Well, I really would encourage people to really think about getting this surgery because it's amazing. I mean, there's not a lot of research out there, and I go by research, but it makes a lot of sense.
And you went by my paper. I think you saw my paper.
Yes, I've read
and we do have another paper that we're trying to get published right as we speak. So hopefully it will be 2 papers now.
Yeah.
It'll be excellent. So, but we'll probably stay in touch.
Okay.
But I appreciate you contributing to letting people know that, you know, you're 7 months out, you're still doing well.
Doing great.
And we have examples of people that are 7 years out and still doing well. So this thing really can work for everybody. And, you know, if you're subscribing, if you're watching, please consider subscribing. And comments or questions are welcomed here at Anderson Podiatry Center. And I almost hate to say goodbye because we really, you know, love you here and wish you the best. Hopefully you keep doing better as time goes on, Irene, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Appreciate this interview tonight.
Likewise.
You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.